Hi guys, so today's going to be our lesson. We're going to be graphing points. We're still going to be working with coordinate planes. We're still going to be working with graphing points. I'm still going to make sure to hit all the vocabulary words that we went over yesterday. Today we're just going to be graphing points that have fractions and decimals in them. So really the same. We just need to make sure we follow a couple additional steps if we have some numbers that have fractions or that have decimals in them. Okay. So the first thing we need to do whenever we have to graph points with fractions and decimal coordinates, we need to make sure that we label any missing numbers. And this is even if we don't have fractions and decimals, but we want to make sure if there's any blanks in our x and y axis, we need to label them. So step one, make sure you label any missing numbers along the x and y axis. And I'll show you what that looks like when we jump to our first practice problem. All right, and then if we need to graph a point, after we make sure our x-axis is labeled, and let's do a quick reminder here. Remember your x-axis runs left to right, horizontal. And y-axis runs up and down. Okay, sorry, that's not the best line, but it's not very easy to draw with my mouse. So yeah, we have our x-axis and our y-axis. Now, after we fill in any missing numbers, we need to make sure we find our x-coordinate. Remember, the x-coordinate is the first coordinate in an ordered pair. And we're going to move to the right along the x-axis. After we decide how far we need to move, however far that x-coordinate tells us to move, then we're going to move vertically or up from that point. However far our y coordinate tells us to move up. So we're going to identify the x-coordinate, move that far, stop, and then move up however far our y-coordinate tells us to move up, and then we plot our point. Step 3, we just put our point right there. Okay, so we're going to plot these points. So we have 2 examples to do together. One of them is going to be with decimals. One of them is going to be with fractions. So remember step 1, we said, hey, if on your x-axis, if you see any missing kind of spots that can be filled in, you are probably going to want to fill those in, okay? Because we may plot some points between 1 and 2, right? There's numbers that can go between 1 and 2. There's a number between 2 and 3, and we want to make sure we plot that so that if numbers do end up between, right, we're going to have some decimals that end up between some of these numbers, we want to make sure we can plot them. So remember, we always start at the origin 0. Now, you got to kind of think to yourself, well, what number, this line's right between 0 and 1. What number is right between 0 and 1? 0.5. Then we go 1. And then what number is right between 1 and 2? 1.5. And then you may see the pattern. We're going by 0.5s. And sorry, my numbers are not the neatest. So I'm just counting basically 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. All of these missing spots filled by 0.5. Now, don't be confused. They may not always be 0.5. Sometimes you can count by, tenths, or you can count by 0.25. So you just got to recognize and try to figure out, well, what's my number line going by? All right, and then vertically, or on the y-axis, we're going from 0 to a missing number to 1, and then skipping to that missing number again to 2. So we're right in the middle, we would be our 0.5s again. So that's what we're counting by. Every one of these lines is counting by 0.5. 0.51, 1.52, 2.5, and so on. So I'm just going to spend some time labeling those. You should do the same. And this is step 1 whenever you have a coordinate plane that has some missing spots like this. Okay. All right. So now we have some plots. We have some points to plot. All right. So I'm going to do A. I'm going to zoom out of this just a little bit. There we go. All right. I have point A, and I need to plot that at 1.50. Now remember, just like the alphabet, my ordered pair always goes X, then Y. Okay. So we got to make sure we always move along the X-axis first, and then we go along the Y-axis. We move up. So we move horizontally and then up. Always that that motion. All right, so 1.5 comma 0. So I'm going to start at 0. Always start at the origin. This is the beginning. And we're going to move over to 1.5. Boom, 1.5. And then I need to move up 0. Oh, well, if I don't move up 0, I'm going to be right on this line. Okay, so that's point A. All right, now B. Again, I label almost all my ordered pairs X, Y because it just makes kind of extra, make sure that I don't mix them up. I don't want to go up first and then to the right. That would give me the wrong direction. All right, so 3 is my X coordinate, Y is my, or 2.5 is my Y coordinate. So I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go over to 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to go up whatever my Y coordinate is, 2.5. 1, 2.5. So that point is going to be right there. Now, real quick, what if I did it backwards? Would I still end up in the same location? What if I go up 3 and then over 2.5? No, I wouldn't end up in the same location. So that's why we got to make sure we go in the right direction. We got to go to the right first and then up or down because we will end up in the wrong spot. All right, let's plot point C, 0, 4.5. So 0 is my X, and then 4.5 is my Y. Okay, so I'm going to start at the origin, 0. Now I'm going to move to the right, 0. Oh, well, I'm going to just stay there. Then I'm going to go up 4.5. Cool. This is point C. Yeah, and sometimes you can have points that are on your Y or X axis, just like A is on the X axis and C is on the Y axis. All right, and then point D, we have to go over 4.5 to the right on my X axis, and then 1.5 on the Y, my Y axis. So I'm going to go all the way over 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and then up 1.5, up 1.5. So good thing I had all these labeled, so I knew exactly where 1.5 and 4.5 and all those things are. All right, that's point D. All right, so all my plots are pointed. I'm done with this. Nice. All right, next one. We're going to plot the following points on the grid. Now we have fractions. So the reason on this other one, sorry to go back to this other one, but I put decimals down here because my points were decimals. This one, my points are fractions. So I'm not going to come down here and put decimals. I'm going to come down here and put fractions. So again, I'm going to start with my origin. And I am going from 0 to a missing number to 1, missing number 2, missing number 3, and so on. And same thing up. So I just got to think, well, what number would be right between 0 and 1/2? Well, the fraction 1/2 would be. And then 1, I'm basically counting by 1/2. 1 would be 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. Okay. And then we're going up, we're doing the same pattern. We start with 0, go to 1/2, go to 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. Okay, so we did step 1. We labeled all of our missing points, all of our missing parts of our coordinate plane on our X and Y axis. Now we just need to plot the points now. So got my point A, X and Y, X axis first. So I go over 1.5, 1.5, and then up 2, right there. This is point A. Point B, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 2.5, 1, 2, 1/2. C is 4.5, 0, so 4.5 on my X, 0 on my Y, and if you want to put like these little arrows every time, that's good too. saying I'm going to go to the right 4.5 and I'm going to go up 0. So you can also do that. I'm going to start 0 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1/2, and then I'm going to go up 0. Oh, this is one of those kind of weird ones where the point is actually on the x-axis. This point C. And then point D, we have 0, and our x-coordinate is 1/2, and our y-coordinate is 5.5. So we're going to go from 0 to 1/2, and then go up to 5.5. All right, cool. These are all plotted. You are done. So remember, your practice for this is to get your Google Slides assignment back out and try to finish the rest of those slides, or try to get as much done as you can, because you only have one more day on Thursday to get those slides done before they're due. Okay, so try to get as much of it done as you can.